Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bulldog Sports Network. About 2 minutes and 30 seconds away from tip. Again, sorry for a little shorter pregame. The women's game got done a little quicker than we thought, Riddle, and had a little trouble getting the stats over. But nonetheless, we're here and ready to go. A couple of interesting tidbits, Riddle, about this men's basketball team. I'm not sure a lot of people are going to know about, but I think they're soon going to find out. You'll see a new starting point guard for the Bulldogs today. Dominique Hagens, the senior, 6'3", out of Lexington, Kentucky. And if what I've heard is true, Riddle, just look out.
He's the real deal.
Yeah, I've got a significant amount of minutes for Georgetown and last year. Transferred around but found his home here at Union. Got eligible just over break. It should be very interesting to see how he's used in this Coach Burton offense.
And he's scored double figures in both of his first games.
Yeah, in 2 games, he's averaging 15 points a game. So it'll be interesting to see how he meshes with this Union team. But so far, I don't think it's been a problem. As this team has been like a brotherhood the last 2 years, that's something that Coach Burton's team really does. They really buy in to that. And this team's really close, and I don't think Hagen's going to throw off the chemistry at all.
And just to reiterate with that, they're just, like you said, they are a brotherhood, but Hagens has got to be something special to come in and start right away on this team.
Especially how talented this team is. As we're under a minute to go here, there'll be no national anthem, so we'll get right into playing some ball for you right after the starting lineups. But Riddle, as I was saying, we talked about the All-American numbers that Brandon Cole has been putting up, and in the past, Union has really found ways to guard him. They've thrown different bodies at him. They've had Deontay guard him a couple times, but I thought last year Newby was really the one who locked him down, and I look for the same thing to happen here tonight, and I look for a lot of different bodies to play on Cole. And in the past, Union has been able to hold him for a season low at least one time every time they have played. And Brandon Cole's gotten frustrated. You got to wonder if that's the case here tonight as well.
Right, I think the length from some of Union's players, Newby, Tremaine, can give him some trouble because he's so physically can push everybody else around.
And then on the flip side of that, when you got a player like Cole, you can do one of two things. You can let him have his, and you can shut everybody else down, or you can focus in on that player and not let them score. I think Burton's going to go with the latter in that one. I think he's going to try his best, not let Cole go off, because if Cole's running wild, Bryan will have a very good chance to win this ball game. So first for our starting lineups. 20 minutes up there on the clock. First for Bryan coming in at 9-5, 5-2 in the AAC. Number 00, Brandon Cole, the junior, 6'2", out of Crossville, Tennessee. Number 1, Oteria Lee, the 5'9" freshman out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Number 12, Robert Torino, 5'11", junior out of Crossville, Tennessee. Number 20, Tyler Yoder, the 6'5" freshman out of Crossville, Tennessee. And finally, Alan Holt, the 6'6" senior out of Rocky Top, Tennessee. The Bryans are coached by Dan Rakowski. I think that's how you say it, Rakowski. As for the Union College Bulldogs, coming in, the homestanding Bulldogs at 11-4, 6-1 in the AAC. Number 5, Fitzgerald White, the 6'7" senior out of Miami, Florida. Number 12, J.D. Tucker, the 6'1" junior out of Charleston, South Carolina. Number 32, Dominique Hagens, the 6'3" senior out of Lexington, Kentucky. Number 33, Gerard Newby, the 6'6" sophomore out of Lexington, Kentucky. And finally, number 54, Deontay Johnson, the 6'8" senior out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Coach Kevin Burton for the Bulldogs. Coach Rusty Elmore is the assistant. So starting lineups being announced. Quickly, a quick tell of the tape. Union averages 83 points a game. Bryan College comes in at 80. Union shoots it at a 50% clip from the field. Bryan College 48. 3-point. Union shoots at 38. Bryan at 39. Free throw percentage 71-73. Rebounding 37-36 in Union's favor. Assists per game. Union one less assist than Bryan, 16-15. Steals per game, Union 11.7 to Bryan's 7.3, and blocks per game, Union averages 5 blocks per game to Bryan's 1. As Union in the home orange jerseys, white numerals and letters, black stripes with the U down the side. Bryan in their away gray uniforms with red numerals and letters as we sit opposite of the benches here in Robeson Arena as Deontay Johnson is going to step in the center circle with Mr. Allen Holt as quickly Coach Burton with some final words for his team. As a good crowd on hand for the students to be gone, Riddle. The lower bowl, not very many seats left down there.
You're right, sort of surprising. Glad to see it, though.
Union will be attacking left to right of your computer screen radio dial. Is Gerard Newby going to step in the center circle here with Holt? As Fitzgerald Watt switches sides. That's looks like Mike Tomlin in there, number 42. That's who I must have missed. It's not Holt, it's Tomlin instead. But anyway, Union wins the tip and goes off to White. White gets it over to Hagan. Hagan pass over to Tucker. Tucker looks inside to Johnson, who has set up camp out there on the right block. Instead, Tucker's going to attack, floats it up, no good. Brandon Cole's going to get his first rebound as Lee brings it over the timeline. Union starting out in that looks like a 3-2. It plays more like a 1-2-2 sort of thing. Out front to Lee. Now really sinking back into a 3-2 as they get it out to Torino, back to Lee. A lot of length on this Union zone. It's going to be hard to penetrate if you're Bryan. Get it over to Torino. Now over to the corner for Tomlin. Back out front, 7 to shoot. Lee from the left wing, puts it on the deck. Long three on the way, and it's going to be a walk with 1 second on the shot clock. First possession. Got to be a check mark for Coach Burton defensively.
Great defense. You know, you talked about their 3-2. That's Coach Burton. That's his staple defensively.
He will extend it out more as the game goes on, but really sinking back into it the first possession. There's not really a lot of shooters on the floor for that Bryan team. Hagan brings it across the timeline, hands it off to White. Now gets to Tucker. A little dribble drive action. It's poked away by Cole, but now Newby has it. He attacks, and Newby's going to pick up the charge.
It's out of control there, John.
Stepping in there was Tomlin, the senior out of Jackson, Tennessee, to take the charge. And now Tremaine Elias going to come in for Johnson. A little length out there for Union. As Union brings on the press against Bryan. Cole calls out the play. He's quarterbacking. Going to inbound the ball as the official has to talk to the scores table. Whatever that was about, I'm not sure. Whatever, though.
I didn't see nothing there.
Cole going to inbound it. He does find Torino. Torino turns down the floor, looks back to Cole, but he's trapped, trying to get out of it, but it's almost taken away from him by Hagan, but Hagan steps on the line, and it's going to be Bryan ball. Tough getting it in so far here for Bryan.
Yeah, like you talked about, the Hagan just provides more length for Union.
Union just oozes the confidence on defense as well. They've yet to lack the killer instinct this year. We'll see if they can correct that in this ball game. Torino thought he was out of the woods, but he isn't. Finally gets it back to Lee. Lee's going to be double teamed. Now they throw it up. They get it to Tomlin, who loses it out to Torino. Very awkward possessions here as Hagan almost comes away with the steal, but it goes off of Bryan and going to be Bryan's ball. And Bryan has not got one clean look at anything in this ball game yet. As Deontay Johnson going to come back in for Elias.
Active hands everywhere.
Every possession matters for Coach Burton. There's no wasted possession. As Cole looking inside, he is very much a perfectionist. Lee, right in front of the scores table, calls out the play. 0-0, nobody scored yet. Lee swings over to Torino, back out, 7 to shoot for Lee. To Torino, Torino thinks about the three, goes baseline, floats it up underneath the basket to Cole, who floats it up on White, no good. Another check mark for Union defensively. Over to Hagan. Hagan quickly attacks, goes up, floats it up, and good, but they're going to call a charge. Hagan attacked. I didn't think that anybody from Bryan could get there quick enough to take the charge, but it's what the officials called.
Still a very athletic move there.
He got to the basket about a half a step, it looked like. Ball in the open court here for Yoder. Almost turns it over. He's double teamed, picks it up, almost has his ball taken away to Lee. Union really extending that defense out. Hagan has it, goes up and slams it down. Oh my goodness. Oh my, as Union leads it 2-0. As Hagan yammed that one back, and thunderous dunk. As still Bryan has yet to really have a strong possession. Cole trying to fix that. He misses it. Newby with the rebound, and now Newby's going to hold it up, hand off to Tucker, fires it quickly ahead to White, who tries to find a cutting Elias, and they turn it over. Union trying to go a little quicker than they wanted to. It's Kapinga quickly off the bench. Kapinga going to come in for Hagan.
A little out of control there. But I like to see him running like that.
2-0 is your score as Cole looks to get it in. Finds Lee, who races down the left side of the floor. Goes down the lane, lays it up, no good. Bryan still scoreless here early. Another check mark for Union defensively. Tucker gets it back to Kapinga, and Coach Burton says, hold up. Kapinga fires it over to Tucker. Tucker driving left, throws it up off the glass and good.
It's an easy move for him. He's being left-handed. That's a good move there.
4-0 Union leads it 3 minutes into the contest. Give Tucker 2. Hagan 2 is Deontay Johnson and Mike Buter set to check in. Yoder gives it back to Lee, who comes around the circle as they're guarding Torino on the baseline. Lee cuts, has it back, tap quickly. Newby goes ahead to White. White gathers, throws it up, and lays it in for 2. 6-0 run by the Bulldogs to get this started. And Coach Wernitzky wants to call a timeout as Union's defense, the first 4 minutes of this ball game, has been smothering.
Really like to see that to start a game off.
Union,
and I know Coach Burton does as well.
Union has really dialed in here defensively as we're going to step out and take a break. We'll be back. 16:49 remaining in the first half. 6-0, Union leads it over Bryan. We'll be back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bulldog Sports Network. Big shout out to all of our friends, family, and alumni who may be out there watching, as well as any Bryan College Lions that's out there watching. Glad to have you on as well. 6-0 run here by Union to get things started. Lee clears everybody out, guarded by Kapinga, and now Union's going to settle back into that zone defense. Cole out to Yoder, back out front to Lee. Lee looking for a cutting Torino, doesn't get him. Now tries to go to Yoder, but that's cut off as well. Cole, fadeaway jumper in the middle, rolls in.
There he is, just finds those little gaps in the zone.
Cole on the board, slips through the zone and shoots a fadeaway jumper, has to, over the length of Union to get Bryan on the board, 6-2. Now Tucker cuts, going on Torino. They're going to call a block on Torino. Torino wasn't set. Tried to sell the acting job as well. Not a bad job there by Torino, but feet was moving, so it will be a blocking foul. Back in will come Hagan. Out goes Kapinga. Mike Buter will inbound it. Lobs it up for Hagan. Going to work on Lee. Puts it up. No good, but he's fouled. Powered that one up there. And Coach Burton already realizing a mismatch as Lee much smaller than Hagan.
Yeah, on our roster said Hagan's is 6'3", and Lee is just 5'9", so definitely a big mismatch.
And that's exactly why Coach Burton got Hagan's into the game as quickly as possible. He saw that as Hagan's leaves the free throw short. As Union leads at 6-2, out goes Tucker. In comes Fitzgerald White. Next one on the way for Hagan's. Good. Smooth. 7-2 is your score. As Hagan's going to pick up full court here on Lee. Quickly fires ahead to Yoder. Yoder picks up his dribble. Skip pass over to Torino. He's the only real true shooter on the floor, but it's picked off by Hagan. Quickly the other way. White. No look pass. Slam, and it goes off the back of the rim there for Hagan. And it tips on top there, but White, I think he wanted to lob that one up, but a no-look pass quickly ahead. And Hagan can't gather enough to dunk it.
Anytime he gets a chance to, he's going to try to throw it on somebody, though.
7-2 is your score. 15:49 remaining here in the first half. It's lobbed over to Torino. Torino looks down the floor, finds Yoder. He's going to shoot a three way over Johnson. It's no good. A tip to White. Union out on the run. White holds it up over on the right wing, picks up his dribble, gives it to Newby. Newby going to shoot the J. Good.
That's the one thing we've talked about early in the season. Newby's really developed that mid-range jumper.
If he starts to develop that, there's no guarding Mr. Gerard Newby. He gives Union the 9-2 advantage, 15-19 to play. Lee fires it over to Yoder right in front of Coach Burt. He fires it into Tomlin. Tomlin back to Lee. No look pass over to Yoder, and he loses it out of bounds. Union's defense has been stifling in the first 5 minutes.
Got mass subs coming in here for
Bryan.
Bryan.
Number 23, Hunter Chastain.
Number 2, Jeff Long, and number 24, Bryce Cusick.
Thank you. Out is Tomlin. And Yoder. Didn't see the third. Torino's out. So 3 fresh subs in. What are we holding up here? Something on the clock? As Coach Burton going to use this opportunity to get Tremaine Elias in the ballgame. He's going to check in for Newby. Newby comes out. 9-2 is your score. Is there a problem with the clock? Who knows?
We're good.
Whistle blows, so ball comes in. 15:08 to play here in the first half. Hagan brings it across the timeline. Just going to hand that one off to White. White crossover dribble, picks it up at the elbow inside to Johnson. Johnson back out to Elias. Pump fake, goes baseline. Kicks it back out to Johnson. Johnson going to shoot the jumper, no good. And Tremaine Elias tries to pull down the offensive board, and he can't do it.
That's not the shot you want Deontay taking.
Guard Newby back off the bench, as well as Kapinga. Johnson comes out, as well as Hagan. Burton not one to really yank you quickly for a bad shot, so that's not the reason I don't think Johnson is coming out. Burton didn't seem upset with it. They do get it in, and now a cheap foul on Elias trying to get the steal on Lee. That's a problem. If you get hungry in the press, you're more likely to gamble instead of just playing straight-up defense. Union has not going to steal yet, just gambling. Cole going to inbound it, trailing it 9-2. They do get it in down there in the corner. Quickly going the other way was Long, and now in the open court laying it up and in was Cusick. Cusick cuts the lead at 9-4. Buter the other way, goes baseline, steps back, cut off by Long, and now gets it back out to Kapinga, who reverses. Elias, deep left wing, kicks it back out to Kapinga. Kapinga goes over to Watt, around the circle, back to Elias, now to Buter. Buter looks back door to Watt, doesn't get him, out to Kapinga, now to Elias. Elias back out to Watt. Watt, long three, left it short. Cusick pulls down the rebound as Lee quickly hurries it over the timeline. Guarded it by Newby. Fires it over to Long, who goes to Cole. Cole, fadeaway jumper off back iron, no good. Cole with a quick trigger.
Quick release.
Quickly the other way, leaves it for Newby. Newby attacks left, tries to float it up, no good, but gets his own rebound. Out to Elias. He's going to take a long three, no good, left it short. Union tries to come up with it, and a walking violation, traveling violation on Jeff Long, who tried to call a timeout after he had walked.
That was a weird possession there.
Tucker comes back in, Hagan comes back in, and Johnson comes back in. Elias comes out, and Buter comes out. Maybe just a two-man sub there, nonetheless. Tucker to White. Going to lob it into Johnson. Guarded by Cusick. Goes up, double team, puts it up and in. That's a man's move from Deontay Johnson.
Strong move there from Deontay. It's hard to stop him when he catches on that block.
Union leads it 11-4. 13-31 remaining here in the first half. Union now extends that zone out a little bit more. They attack Long. Dishes it off, but it's tipped by Newby. Gets it back in. Long three on the way for Chastain, and he drains it. Kind of shakes his head after. Didn't think it was going to go, but indeed he drains it. 11-7 is your score. Little three-point celebration by Bryan over there on the bench. As now Hagan attacks. Out to White. White. Fadeaway three. No good. Lee comes down with the rebound. Lee trying to hurry things up the other way. White cuts him off. It's going to get called for the blocking foul at the center circle.
Cheap foul there from Fitz. He was off balance, frustrated on his missed shot there.
And now quickly Tyler Wagner comes to the scorer's table. Probably going to come in for Fitzgerald Watt. Indeed he is. And now Stevens off the bench. How deep do you have to be, by the way, for DeAndre Stevens to be your third point guard off the bench?
He's the 11th man in the game right now.
Lee goes over to Chastain. Lee fakes the three. Gives it back to Long. Long looks baseline to Cusick. Instead, looks inside to Cole. Back to Long. Long fadeaway jumper over the outstretched arm of White, and it goes. 11-9 your score. Stevens, Long, three on the way. No good. Back iron. Union settling here, but Hagan with the offensive putback. Or not putback, gives it back out to Stevens, misses another one. White tips it to himself, gets it, tries to drive on Cole, kicks it out. Wagner thinks about the three to Hagan. Hagan back to Stevens. Three in a row. That one's got to go right. It does not. Back iron, no good, and now White gets called for the over the back. Two cheap ones on White.
Three wide open looks.
And
for
Stevens,
DeAndre.
Yeah. Stevens had all the time in the world to gather there. As Tucker's going to come back in for Hagan. White's going to come out. Newby's going to come in. I believe I've got all the subs there for the Bulldogs. As Union going to bring on that press. They have the 2-point lead, 11-9. They get it into Long. Long looks down the floor and fires it up ahead and throws it out of bounds. The length of Union just too much in the press for Bryan. The Lions are not getting anything easy in this one. Wagner subs out. Is it Johnson who come back in?
Yes.
Thank you. Tucker's going to inbound it. Just leaves it for Kapinga over the half-court line and now brings over the timeline. Kapinga working on Lee. Gives it to Tucker, who's going to attack to the left. Off the glass, no good. Newby skies for the rebound and kicks it back out to Kapinga. Tucker fakes the pass to Stevens, now to Kapinga. Kapinga looking inside, bounces it in to Johnson. Johnson keeps the ball over his head, out to Kapinga, who attacks left baseline, lays it up, has to adjust in midair, no good, tries to fight for the rebound, it's tipped around, and Stevens comes up with it. Dishes it to Tucker, lays it up, no good, but he's fouled and going to go line, 4-2.
Great offensive rebound thus far in the game for Union. They're getting every ball.
This Union team much better. And that's pretty scary. They've gotten much better since the last time we saw them here in Robeson Arena. Last time we called a game, Riddle, was what? That Milligan loss? No, I called the one at Alice Lloyd, so I guess that was the last time I seen them. First one up for Tucker, no good.
They're playing good right now, and I know the score is close. They just are having trouble making shots right now.
Settling for a couple too many threes, too, I think. I think it's safe to say.
I think this team can get to the rim against Bryan for sure.
Just shying away from the contact here early. Next one on the way for Tucker, it's good. 12-9, Union 3-point advantage with 11:30 to play here in the first half. Lee, double team, fires one ahead to Cole, over to Long. Long fakes the pass, gives it back out to Lee. Lee gets in midair, gives it to Long. Three on the way, good.
He can shoot. There's no doubt about why he's in the game. You gotta find him in the zone.
So Bryan trying to break that zone up. It's 12-12. Newby looks inside, kicks it back out to Kapinga, who's going to attack. Out to Stevens. Stevens fires it in to Johnson. Johnson turns baseline, puts it up and in with contact, but it rims back out. Cole now on the open floor. He's going to run the break by himself. Goes up, and he's going to be fouled on the ground. Oh, he's going to be shooting.
Kapinga's going to be called on the foul.
Tied up 12 all. Coach Burton with a pretty good argument down on the other end as he's saying that his guy got fouled and the exact same thing happened on the other end as Johnson was hacked on the other end, and then Cole gets called for a foul just by attacking the basket. That's the call that Burton is arguing at the moment. Cole, first one up, no good. Somebody just screamed. I don't know where it came from, but it works. Cole goes back to the line. This one up, good. Cole with 3 points on the day. Bryan has the 13-12 lead. Kapinga over the timeline. Gets a screen from Newby. Newby rolls. Kapinga looks for him inside. Kapinga gets it deep, but he's cut off. Back out to Kapinga. Kapinga behind the back dribble, and he's fouled on the ground by Lee. I think that's Lee's second. Don't know how deep Bryan is point guard-wise as Kapinga is going to come in.
Yeah, this is the first time Lee's going to be out of the game. He's been in the whole game.
Buter's going to come in. Stevens going to come out after a couple of good minutes. Coming in for Bryan will be number 11, Caleb Parsons. Out goes Lee with his second foul. Union's going to have it on the baseline. Out to Tucker. Back to Buter. Buter curls around the screen and throws up the three. It's no good. It's tipped around. Cole comes down with it over Newby. He's so good at maneuvering his body, and he understands angles so well, does Brandon Cole. That's why he's so good. And now a tic-tac foul out front on Kapinga. Coach Burton just shakes his head at Kapinga. Wondering what that young man is doing. That'll be 2 fouls on Kapinga. As Hagan's going to come back in for the freshman. As Caleb Parsons going to go to the line for 2. Or excuse me, 1 and a bonus, not 2. First one up. No good, no bonus. Newby out to Hagens. Hagens over the timeline. Over to Newby, now to Buter. Buter looks inside. Now for a cutting Tucker. Tucker straight away, now over to Buter. To Hagens. Hagens, floater in the middle of the lane, no good. Gets his own putback, puts it up and in.
Great second effort there from Hagens.
Nobody boxed out as Hagens just tips it back up and in. 14-13, under 10 to play here in the first half. Flying by. Over to Long, over on the deep left wing. Now out front to Parsons. Parsons attacks. Gathers into Cole. Cole spins right into Deontay Johnson, partially blocked. And now a foul going after the rebound. As Cusick, went up and just bodied Newby after he had already had the rebound. Great defense there by Union on Cole.
That's Cusick's second, so Tomlin will come back in. I know Cusick came off the bench, but I feel like he's given just as good minutes as Tomlin did.
I agree.
He's going to stay in with those 2 fouls.
Hagens has it, comes across the timeline. Over to Buter. Buter going to shoot a long throw. I think it was a lob up to Newby back door, but Bryan read that one perfectly. Now Parsons in the open floor, gets it. Corner 3 for Long, good! Long is on fire and now points over to the Union bench afterwards. That young man is feeling it. He's feeling it. Look at him clapping. 16-14, 9-12. Buter, handoff to Hagens. Hagens gathers, flips it over, and now there's going to be a whistle. And it's going to be the other direction. Was it a foul?
Offensive foul on Hagens on a push-off. That's his second.
That's 2 on Hagens, so Kapinga's going to have to come back in with 2 fouls. Tremaine Elias off the bench as well. As Mr. Long with 8 points leads all scorers on the floor for Bryan.
He's feeling himself right now.
Definitely been there as a shooter before. Where the bucket just looks like it's as big as a hula hoop. Double team by Union as they bring on the press. 16-14. Bryan leads it. Lee brings it across the timeline. Leaves it for Cole. Cole maneuvers away and misses it, but leaves it for Tomlin, who tips it back up and in. Bryan back with the advantage. White over on the right wing. Attacks baseline. Goes up, puts it up and in for 2 and 1. Fitzgerald White bullies his way to the basket and puts it up with contact and finishes.
Yeah, Long didn't have nothing for him on the defensive end there.
Long was knocking down the threes, but couldn't get it done on the defensive end. 18-16, White trying to finish the old-fashioned three-point play, and he does. 18-17, 8:44 remaining as Elias comes out. Cole going to inbound it. 1-point ball game with 8:43 remaining. Lee gets the call from Coach Wernitzky and now brings it over the timeline, gives it to Long. I'm surprised Long didn't fire it from there. Tomlin over in the left corner, back to Lee. Lee, fake the 3, nobody bid on it. And Lee attacks, floater, middle of the lane, off the backboard, no good. Gets his own rebound, and now it's taken away from him as Johnson comes away with it. Kapinga quickly up ahead to Tucker, is racing down the left side of the floor. Out to White. White thinks about the 3, now attacks. Noah passing to Newby and misses the dunk. Great pass into White, and Newby just couldn't put the dunk down. Bryan still leads at 18-17. They leave it for Cole. Cole goes up, puts it up, no good. Tipped back up and in by Tomlin.
Tomlin's really asserted himself his last few trips on the offensive glass.
Bryan has punched Union in the mouth here, and Union just not ready to match the energy that Bryan is bringing to the floor right now. Just getting outplayed. Kapinga across the top of the circle, puts this one up and in for two. Kapinga does it by himself.
Great move there for Kapinga all the way to the basket.
20-19 as Lee just going to walk it across the timeline. Lee dribbles up, now going to kick it back out to Chastain. Back to Lee. Lee working on Watt, gives it to long three on the way, no good, back iron. That one went, look out. Kapinga quickly the other way, thinks about the jumper, instead gives it to Watt, who goes down the lane, puts it in from the left side with a strong hand, and Union has the 1 point advantage, 21-20. Across the timeline comes Lee. 3-2 zone here for Union. To Chastain, now to Tomlin. Right of the lane, back out to Long. Long attacks down the lane, floats it up, good! Long with 10 points on the afternoon. Kapinga quickly going the other way, out of control, puts it up and in, and one. Kapinga drew the contact and put it up right-handed, and it goes in without backboard.
Kapinga's made 2 good drives these last 3 possessions.
Kapinga frustrated with his play the last couple of times down the floor. Puts that one up and in and one. The 1 point advantage for Union. Long on the year, by the way, with 10 points, averages 3 a game. Just one of those nights. Kapinga trying to complete the and one. It rims out. And it's Cole who pulls down the rebound and hands it off to Long. Lee tells Cole to go to the middle of this zone as Union extends back out into a matchup zone look. As Buter is back out, and now Union backs back up into the 3-2. Over to the corner. Chastain thinks about the three, bounces into Cole. Cole working on Johnson, and it's swatted. Cole getting frustrated. Kapinga down the fine look, lobs it in. Johnson puts it up and in for two.
Kapinga's really starting to play here, John.
25-22, Kapinga has taken into his own hands to get Union going. Union was just stuck in the mud there for about 5 minutes, and now it seems to be rolling again. Lee's going to attack, and he's tripped up in the lane by Buter. Buter first one there to help him back up as Union leads at 25-22 with 5 minutes and 57 seconds left to play here in the first half of the men's basketball game. Union women won earlier versus Bryan. Another good contest as Lee goes to the charity stripe. Lee takes a couple of dribbles, puts this one up, good. 25-23, Hagan back up off the bench. He's going to come in for Kapinga. Kapinga, great minutes right there for Coach Burton. Lee steps back to the line, couple of dribbles, throws this one up, good. 1 point ball game, 25-24. Union holds the 1 point advantage over the lines. Tucker, left wing, off to Hagan, back to Buter. Buter, three on the way, no good, left it long. Lee's going to come away with the rebound and hurry things up the other way. Union a little slow to get back. Chastain goes baseline, wild looking reverse layup, but Tomlin once again with an offensive putback. That's three. Nobody putting a body on Tomlin offensively as he's found 6 garbage points, and I don't mean garbage in a negative sense. He's just been there. Passes tip, but Hagan gets it anyway. Newby looks inside to Johnson. Johnson spins back to the center of the lane and puts it up and in. Nice acting job, yeah. Nice acting job there by Tomlin, but not going to get it done as Johnson puts it up and in. 6 points for Deontay Johnson. He's played very good here in the first half. Torino is sub back in, out front. Now back to Lee, working on Buter. Crossover dribble down the lane. Keeps his pivot foot, turns looking for Cole, and Cole is swatted, and now they're going to call a foul late there as Cole was swatted, but they're going to say there was a lot of body on that. And Cole are going to go to the line for 2. First foul on Johnson. Thought that was pretty clean there by Johnson, and Cole just went in after the fact and drew the contact, but nonetheless, Cole makes the first free throw, and they say ball don't lie, so I guess that applies in both ways.
Always seems to, anyways. Always some justice.
Cole puts this one up. No good. Back iron as Johnson pulls down the rebound. Cole with a 4 points, not his best half of basketball this year. Newby over to Tucker. Tucker looks inside to Johnson. Newby slips a screen, but instead they go out to White. Right side of the floor for Johnson. Back out to White. White attacks, lays it up. Good.
Great move from Fitzgerald White there. He's so long.
White gives Union the 2-point advantage. 29-27, under 5 minutes to play here in the first half. Lee brings it across. The pace of this game kind of slowed down a little bit. As now almost a steal as they try to feed Cole. As Chastain pump fakes, now puts it up. No good. Back iron. Good box out by Tucker underneath the basket. Now he's going to get the ball back as Newby saved it back into him. White the other way. Nice move down the lane as White lays it up, but he can't get it to go. Follows his own shot, keeps the ball up. Now a first layup goes.
Great effort from Fitzgerald White.
What a move there by Fitzgerald White and got his own putback. 31-27. Lee across the circles and now going to back it back out between the circles over to Torino. Torino fakes one way, goes down the lane. Fadeaway jumper partially blocked by Tucker as Cole has the ball taken away from it by Johnson. Now Hagan quickly the other way, making up a lot of time. Hands it off to Tucker. Tucker caught in the lane, nowhere to go, and Tomlin's going to pull down the rebound.
A tough shot there from Tucker.
Tomlin's just a big, nasty blue-collar center inside there for the Lions. Is a long three on the way. Goes for number 23, Chastain, the 6'4 junior out of Cleveland, Tennessee. Union has the 1-point advantage, 31-30. The pace slowed for a second. Now it's picked right back up. Union, 1-point lead. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bulldog Sports Network. 31-30, Union leads it over Bryan. 3:22 left to play here in the first half. As Bryan just really matched the energy of Union early in the contest, and Union wasn't ready to play back with what Bryan gave them early in this first half, but Union got control, but Bryan's just hitting threes like crazy in this contest. Over to Tucker on the deep left wing. Tucker crossover dribble to Hagan. Hagan attacks down the lane, floats it up, no good. Tipped around, Johnson's there. Newby comes away with it. Back out to Stevens. Stevens, open three, gotta go. Yes, sir!
Finally.
Just a matter of time before that young man gets going as Stevens drains the three, 33-30. Lee comes across the timeline, gives it to Torino, back to Lee. Lee straight away. Dribbles in, kick ball, goes off the foot of Stevens. As Stevens with a big smile as Tremaine Elias off the bench. He's going to check in for Johnson. Inbounding the ball will be Bryan on the baseline. It'll be Cusick. Cusick out to Lee. Lee calls out the play. Dribbles between the circles. Pull-up jumper on the way. Back iron, no good. And Hagan skies for the rebound, but it goes off of his foot. And Bryan will keep it. Hagan's got a little too high for that rebound. And lost it. So quick sub in here for Long. As the guys who are beating Union right now, Riddle, I mean, have not had spectacular games all season.
And, you think about it, it's usually how it happens.
Long has 8 points. He hasn't had 8 points since the beginning of the season, 10-29-2014, when he had 13. He's already got 10 here today. And then Chastain, who's got the ball right now and tries to feed Tomlin, but is taken away. Chastain, his career high is 10 points against Tennessee Temple. Hagan finds Newby, swings it over to Stevens. Stevens, deep left wing. Across the circle, lays it up, good, and one! Stevens powers it in. As Union's athleticism just chipping away at Bryan, and eventually the shots that weren't falling earlier are going to start going.
Great move there from Stevens. You just can't give him any daylight, any room whatsoever.
Kapinga's going to come in for Hagans. Another good thing about Dominic Hagans as well, the senior, pretty deep at guard, so he doesn't have to play a ton of minutes for you. Stevens puts it up good, completes the and one. Union all of a sudden has opened up a 7-point lead over Bryan. Out to Lee, guarded by Stevens. Guarded by Lee. Lee is guarded by Stevens. Stevens hounding him. Lee looking for somebody to throw it to, but Union's defense is hounding. Nobody on the floor right now with prolific scores as Cole is over on the bench for Bryan. Lee got away with a walk. No, they call it. Good defense there by the Bulldogs.
Great defense there. Tremaine stayed with the double team there. Huge stop there for the Bulldogs.
So now Newby going to inbound it. Kapinga, the likely recipient, as Coach Burton calls the play. Across the timeline comes Kapinga. Finds Tucker, feeds it into Johnson over on the right side of the floor. Johnson double team, puts it back up and in anyway. Coach Renowski wants a walk, but he's not going to get it. Johnson has played all game long, double team and triple team, and still has 8 points. Across the timeline comes Parsons. Parsons hounded. Going to try to go on Stevens anyway, and they're going to call a foul on Stevens. Stevens don't like that call, but it is what it is.
He wanted a 5-second call, but didn't get it.
So Parsons will go to the line after creating.
Number 31, Stevens. His first.
So to the line goes Parsons. First one up, no good. In comes Tyler Wagner. Going to replace Newby with 1:14 remaining here in the first half. Next one on the way for Parsons, no good. Johnson going to pull down the rebound. Johnson gets it off to Kapinga. Kapinga over the timeline. Off to Wagner. Wagner, Stevens, back to Kapinga. Inside Johnson, now he's going to get called for that charge. Tomlin got Johnson that time. Couldn't do it before, but did it that time.
That's a pretty weak call there. Johnson with a good move. Got the flop on him this time.
It'll say complete. Right now it's 39-30, Union with a 9-point advantage. 50 seconds to play as Lee backs it up, guarded by Tucker. Lee, 20 to shoot on the shot clock. Tomlin out front. Finds Chastain, and now out to Lee. 15 to shoot on the shot clock. Lee going to try to attack, looking for Chastain instead. Looking inside to Cole, who is guarded by Wagner. That Wagner-Cole matchup is a very interesting one as Lee puts it on the deck, floats it up, no good. Wagner fights for the rebound and falls in the hands of Stevens. 23 seconds. Down goes Kapinga. He's going to take it, lay it up for two. Union will take an 11-point advantage now with 16 seconds left in the half.
Kapinga has had a really good second part of this first half.
Lee comes across the timeline. 7 seconds. 11-point lead for Union. Lee attacks, throws it up, leaves it for Cole, who puts it up and in, and that's going to end the half as Cole finishes it. Had the first points and has the last points of the half, does Cole, but it's not enough to give Bryan the lead as Union leads it over Bryan, 41-32. Stay with us. We'll be back with some halftime stats right after this. You're listening to John and John on the Bulldog Sports Network. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bulldog Sports Network. A big shout out to all of our friends, family, and alumni who are out there watching. I know if you so please, you can tweet me and let me know where you're watching from. On I think the Twitter handle is at BSN Voice. That's official Twitter account for the Bulldog Sports Network. Again, you can tweet us at BSN Voice. And let us know where you're listening from, and would really like to know. May give you a shout out on air, but I give my buddy John Riddle a big shout out. But before that, I give my fiance, my beautiful fiance Samantha Caldwell, who has been a trooper and done camera for both games today.
Volunteered her time today. Spent
How about
time
that?
with us.
How about that? And she's a Union alumni, so that's a double whammy there. Big shout out to Bryan Struck as well for bringing us some pizza up here. I really appreciate some food, as it's been a long day. But Riddle, I'll let you get to those halftime stats, and I'll quit blabbing.
First for Bryan, here are the lines. First half, Brandon Cole, their leader, only with 4 points and 5 rebounds in the first half. Mike Tomlin with 8 points and 4 rebounds. 6 of those points were off offensive rebounds. Lee with 2 points and 2 rebounds and 4 assists. Long with 10 points, 1 rebound and 1 assist. Hunter Chastain with 6 points, 2 rebounds and assists. And Bryce Cusick with 2 points and 1 rebound. The Lions had 18 total rebounds in the first half. 6 assists, 10 turnovers, and 1 steal. They shot 43%, 57% from behind the arc, and 44% from the free throw line. For Union, Fitzgerald White led the way with 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. Gerard Newby, 2 points, 7 rebounds, and an assist. Deontay Johnson, 8 points, 3 rebounds. J.D. Tucker with 3 points and 2 assists. Dominique Higgins with 5 points and 2 rebounds. And David Kapinga with 6 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists. Union had 22 rebounds, 8 offensive rebounds, 8 assists to 6 turnovers, 2 blocks, and 5 steals. Union shot 47%, 11% from behind the three-point arc, and 57% from the free throw line. From the stats, you can really tell that the three-point shot has kept Bryan in the game right now. Union had a little lull there earlier where they couldn't find the basket, but there at the end they really took off. Kapinga made some big plays. Fitzgerald White, both of them really practiced there in the second part of that first half.
So about 9 minutes before we get you set for second half action, that's going to do it for our little halftime show. So we'll step out and take a little extended break here, maybe a little pizza break for me. Riddle, you never know. As we'll be back here in about 9 minutes. Union leads it at the half, 41 at 32. We'll be back. You're listening to the Bulldog Sports Network.
There's a call to be answered. Time is still on your side. The pads still feel good. The spirit of competition is still alive inside. The desire still drives. A new team welcomes you and challenges you. There's always room to grow. The phrase student athlete has a great ring to it. Lasting friendships are ready to be made. You just want to keep playing. Game on. Learn more at naia.org. There's a call to be answered. Time is still on your side. The pads still feel good. The spirit of competition is still alive inside. The desire still drives. A new team welcomes you and challenges you. There's always room to grow. The phrase student athlete has a great ring to it. Lasting friendships are ready to be made. You just want to keep playing. Game on. Learn more at naia.org. There's a call to be answered. Time is still on your side.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bulldog Sports Network. 41-32, Union leads Bryan at the break. A couple of things that both these teams can be working on in that halftime locker room, Riddle, I know. I think Bryan's got to find more unique ways to try to get Brandon Cole involved in the offense, because Cole right now with 6 points on the day. If it holds up, it's going to hold him to his season low, which is not, that's not out of the ordinary, as Union has done that for years in the past. But Cole's a talented enough player to try to work and maneuver around that length. But Bryan has gotten a lot of answers from guys who are not that big of players in that offense. They're role players. They're not the scorers. Chastain has knocked down a couple of threes. Long has gone crazy from three. It's been fun to watch those guys. And then, of course, Lee, I thought, have managed the offense really well. It's just been the pressure for Union. When Bryan has been able to figure it out, it's really been a pretty even ball game. But that being said, Union really stretched the lead out towards the end of that half as we are underway. If you're Union, got to stop playing so much one-on-one and get the team involved. And I thought they did that with the 41-32.
And keep up the same defensive intensity.
Lee fires it into Tom and goes up, block, puts it back up and in anyway.
Tomlin's he's a beast down there. He's a force to be reckoned with.
Anything that comes in Tomlin's direction, he has put up and in, has a couple of putbacks, give him 8 points. Another big role player there for Bryan. Doesn't carry the scoring load, but definitely capable of doing so tonight. Inside to Johnson. He's instantly double teamed. Back out to Tucker. Newby thinks about the three. To White. White leaves it for Hagan. Hagan puts it up and in off the board.
Off the board.
Hagan unguardable so far for the Bulldogs. 7 points. Hasn't played a whole lot of minutes either. Over to Torino. Back out front to Lee. Now to Yoder. Back to Lee straight away. Lee to Yoder. Deep right wing. Back to Lee. Lee over to Torino. Torino fakes one way. Back out to Lee. Lee drives out to Yoder. A lot of passing around the perimeter right now, and it's taken away. White comes away with it quickly. Ahead to Tucker. Tucker attacks. Lays it up. No good. And Yoder's there for the rebound, and quickly Lee pushing the ball the other way. Crossover dribble. Floats it up. Torino. He's the sharpshooter for this Bryan team. Can't get the shot off. Yoder's going to rise and fire instead. No good. Front iron. It's tipped. And Johnson's going to get called for over the back as Yoder had great position on Deontay Johnson, just shoving him out of there.
That'll be Deontay's third.
Telling you, Tomlin, heck of an athlete down there in the post. Really enjoyed watching him play thus far. Cole goes way out front to Lee. Lee over to Yoder. Yoder looking inside to Cole. Instead swings it back to Lee. Torino fires into Cole, and Cole's going to get called for hooking. Cole hooked Newby to clear space, and the referee's called him. I don't agree with that call, but it is what it is.
I thought Cole had pretty good position.
I did too. I thought he had great position, but nonetheless, officials saw something different than we did.
And we won't complain.
43-34. Hagan brings it across the timeline to White. White leaves it for Tucker. Now to Hagan. Hagan attacks, leaves it for White. White thinks about the three. Now attacks. Floats it up. No good as he lost it midair. White wants the foul. He's not going to get it as it goes out of bounds. Turnover by the Bulldogs. White a little out of control there and dribbled right into a double team, and the Lions just held their ground inside. Across the timeline comes Lee. Bryan really also has to weather the first bit of this half, as I think offensively for Union. If you can weather that first storm, you may can get back into this. Rise and fire, Torino, back iron, no good as Tucker runs down the rebound. 5-on-4 now if Union hurries, and indeed Hagan's going to as he pushes it back to Tucker, almost loses it, finds Newby. Newby goes up, floats it up, and it's going to be a charge. Tomlin plants his feet and takes yet another charge inside.
It's going to be
third foul there as Cole going to inbound it. Gets it into Lee.
I still don't know if his feet's all the way set on that, but he does a good job with his facial expressions.
17:28 remaining here.
He does. He hollers like he's getting shot.
And that's what I was taught to do in high school. That's what I was taught to do. When you take a charge,
sell it.
When you take a charge, you yell like you've been killed. And Tomlin did a very good job to get in position. As Cole tries to scoop one out from underneath the basket, he's blocked from behind, but gets bailed out with a foul. As Tremaine Elias goes over the back and hacks Cole across the arm, so he's going to go to the line for it too. As it's going to be Deontay Johnson at the line as Fitzgerald White comes over to chat with the official. As Cole goes to the line for a couple of free throws. He's got 6 points on the evening. Make it 7 now. Johnson checks in for Elias. Cole, 80% free throw shooter. Gathers this one, puts it up, good. Newby inbounds, finds Hagens. Hagens across the timeline, 43-36. Bryan continues to chip away at the lead. Hagens puts it on the deck out to Tucker. Tucker across between the circles, lays it up and in for two.
Good take there from J.V. Tucker.
And just a little dribble drive action for Union the last couple times down the floor, something we didn't see a lot of in the first half, but so far it's worked for Union. It's 45, backdoor lob. Yoder tried to cram it, but he gets caught in the corner of the rim, and it will go out of play as Cole tried to save it back in. Good call there from Coach Wernitzky over on the Bryan bench. Almost worked. Got to call plays like that in this Union zone. That baseline and corners are almost always wide open. Bryan tried to shoot Union out of the zone in the first half, but Union stayed strong. Hagan almost loses his dribble. Back out to White. Gets it into Johnson, who's really deep. Johnson puts it up and misses it. It falls into the hands of Yoder. Really letting both teams play in the paint. It's a big boys game. Lee attacks, dishes it. Cole puts it up, block, no good. Johnson pulls down the rebound. Tucker over to White. White looking inside, and now they're going to call a quick 3 seconds there on Newby, as Newby was posted up in there. Didn't clear the paint on the opposite side, stayed in the paint, so that's what got him the 3 seconds. Just come around to the other side, and that's not going to do it. Turnover for the Bulldogs, 45-36 is your score as Johnson goes to the pine. Tyler Wagner comes in. Across the timeline comes Lee. Takes a pass over to one side and now gets it back out front. Finds Torino over on the deep left wing. Now back out to Lee. Lee to Yoder. Yoder puts it on the deck, dribbles it back out now. Back to Lee. Coach Verninsky wants him to run a play. Tomlin sets a good hard screen, slips, gets the pass, and now gets called for a walk. Fitzgerald White pulled the chair out from under Tomlin as he tried to find a body to post up on. Thought he had found one, went to pick up the ball, but his feet flew out from under him, and he gets called for a walk.
Another good defensive possession there for Union.
(45-36). Wagner going to inbound. Kapinga into the ball game as well. Hagans takes a seat. Get it to Johnson at the high post. Back to Wagner. Wide open three on the way. No good, but White thought he had the rebound, but it was tipped, and White couldn't get a hand on it. And they're going to say it belongs to the Lions. Chastain comes in as well as Long. Torino comes out as well as Yoder. 45-36 is 15:28 remaining here in the ball game. Chastain dribbles up, thinks about the three, gives it to Lee straight away. Lee fires a pass to the baseline for Tomlin. Back out to Lee. Lee puts it on the deck. Goes down. Wagner thought about taking a three-pointer. Cole with a fadeaway jumper. Good. Don't want that young man to get going as he is now in double figures with 10. Kapinga for Wagner. Wagner thinks about another three. He's going to take it. Good.
That's why he's in the game, John.
Wagner, with all the confidence in the world, gives Union the 10-point advantage, 48-38. Now got to guard Cole on the other end. Long has it inside to Tomlin. Tomlin goes across the lane. Fadeaway jumper's no good. Tucker's there for the rebound. Quickly off to Kapinga. Kapinga on the run. Bulldogs running, stops, throws it out to Wagner. Wagner puts it on the deck, floats it up in the middle of the lane. No good. And a charge. Wagner out of control that time. Should have just passed it off, as Tomlin had set up camp there in the paint and takes yet another charge. 48-38.
Yeah, now that's not Wagner's game. They're getting to their business, spotting up and shooting.
Tomlin saw that one coming just like we did from a mile away and just held his position. Man, he's put in a lot of good minutes, has Tomlin, as he is tired over there on the Bryan side. And look up at the scoreboard. Bryan still down 10. A long way to go in this one as Coach Burton calls a timeout. We're going to take one, too. 48-38. 14:35 remaining in the ball game. We'll be back. You're listening to Bulldogs Sports Network. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bulldog Sports Network. 10-point lead for Union, leading the lines of Bryan as Lee going to bring it across, and Union extends out that 3-2 zone. Chastain finds Cusick in the corner, back out to Lee. And now Long thinks about a three, spins back to the middle, fires it out to Lee. Lee attacks, pump fakes, leaves it, but it's taken away temporarily. Lee goes and gets it back. He's got a man draped all over him, and Coach Reniski finally gets the timeout at the very last second there, almost a jump ball, but Lee with a great job to retain possession for the Bulldogs. So 14 left to play in the game. Another timeout. We're going to take one, too. 48-38. Union leads it over Bryan. We'll be back to listen to John and John on the Bulldogs Sports Network. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bulldog Sports Network. 48-38, 14-14 remaining. Bryan will have it on the baseline. Cole will be the trigger man for the Lions. Throws it way out to Lee, and Lions just going to reset here on offense. Cole comes up to get the ball. Gives it to Chastain, now gives it back to Lee. Lee attack, double team temporarily, and now a skip pass over to Chastain in the corner. Long wide open in the opposite corner, but Chastain can't get to him. Jumper on the way at the clock as the shot clock expires. Missed shot. Hagan quickly the other way to Tucker. Tucker attacks, and he's bumped by Long, and it's going to be a foul on the ground.
It's Long's third.
Long still looking at the official there. Can't believe he called that. It's kind of been the consistent thing about the officiating is they've called the smaller stuff out front, but they've really let them play in the paint. Anything inside that orange paint, they've let go pretty much all day. Lob inside the newbies, pushed back by Cole, and it goes out to Kapinga. Kapinga going to get a screen from Johnson. He slips it over to White. Wide open three in the left corner. Got it!
Great look there from Kapinga.
51-38 as Lee crosses the timeline. Over to Long in the left corner. Long looks like he got away from some steps. Finger roll, no good. Tipped around, and now Tucker comes up with it. Crossover dribble. Bulldogs on the run to White. White, heat check on the way. No good, front iron as Long comes down with the rebound. Long quickly the other way, leaves it for Cole. Cole goes up. No call by the official. They're going to say Union stepped on the line. Cole thought he was fouled, but it was very quick, so I really couldn't see one way or another, but Bryan will have it on the baseline. As out goes Kapinga, in comes Mike Buter. Also in comes number 40, Allen Holt, the 6'6" senior from Rocky Top, Tennessee. Holt throws it in. And now gets it back. What's inside for Cusick? It's tipped. Hagan going the other way. Works on Lee. Picks up his dribble. Goes up lays it in for two. Union 53-38. Opening it up here against the lines of Bryan as Lee backs it back out. Looks to throw it inside. Instead, going to run some offense. And Riddle, I alluded to it earlier, but we talk about the killer instinct of this team. They were up 20 points on Bluefield going into the half. They let Bluefield go on a 24-something run to get back in this. Can the Bulldogs just put the Lions away? Or are they going to let the Lions get back in this? Quickly, Hagan in the open court. He's so smooth to Buter. Buter holds it up, gives it to White. White puts it on the deck. Crossover dribble, working on Chastain. Looks in there now. There's going to be a whistle and 5 seconds. That's going to be the easiest 5 seconds that Hunter Chastain has ever had to defend in his life, as Fitzgerald White didn't realize the count was on, and Chastain just stood there. Good awareness. So Kapinga comes in. Out goes Johnson, and out goes Hagan. Tremaine Elias into the contest as well. 53-38, 12:23 remain. Lee angling to the left. Out front to Holt, who tries to feed number 24, Cusick, the 6'8 freshman out of Jefferson City, Tennessee, but it's off of the knee of a Bulldog and out of bounds. So Holt's going to have it and inbound it underneath the basket. Cole on the bench for Bryan. They get it in. Shot on the way for Cusick. It's a miss, and Fitzgerald White gets the rebound. No-look pass over to Buter on the left side of the floor. Looking inside to Elias. Can't get to him. Now back out to Kapinga as Coach Burton going to call the play. Kapinga looks inside, tries to force one into Newby, but Elias is there, and it's swatted from behind by Chastain. Coach Burton furious with that offensive possession. Going to tell Johnson to get back in there as Elias is going to come out. Kapinga inbounds it to Buter, now to White. White looks inside, finds Johnson over the top. Johnson puts it up and he's fouled. Can't get the and one to go, but Johnson's going to go to the free throw line.
Great pass there from Fitz.
Absolutely.
Be the third on Cusick.
That's a hard pass to make when they're double teaming you and try to throw it over the top, but Fitzgerald White did it for perfection as Johnson's first free throw rattles out. First one, next one up, and good.
So Elias checks in for Johnson, and Hagens checks in for Kapinga here.
Subs in and out. As Lee gets it, trying to chop into the Lions lead, the Union's lead, 54-38. The Lions trail it. Get it out to Long. And another thing, Riddle, is Lions are going to they're always starting their offense so far out on the floor as they're starting. That's a turnover. Quickly the other way. Leaves it, does Hagens for Newby as Newby puts it up and in. And the Union leads it 56-38 now.
There's a heck of a pass there. We going full speed and make that pass on a dime.
Yeah, just kind of left it for Newby so fast I could barely call it, but it is up and in for two, so it'll be 56-38 with 11:25 to play in the ball game. We'll step out, take a break, and be back. You're listening to the Bulldogs Sports Network. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bulldogs Sports Network. Good crowd on hand here in Robeson Arena, and then I can tell by the numbers on the broadcast, a lot of folks itching for some basketball in the new year. As glad to have everybody along with us for the ride. 56-38, Union leads it over Bryan. As Riddle, before you know it, it's going to be AAC tournament time, and then we'll be talking about if Union can make it back to that national tournament where they've kind of made it their goals to get every year. And last year lost in the first round on a buzzer beater. This year, their goal is to make a run. Speaking of run, Hagen quickly covering a lot of ground, goes the other way through contact, puts it up, no good. But he's fouled by about 3 lines and going to go to the line for 2. See, I think they gave that one to number 24, Bryce Cusick, the freshman. Not much foul trouble for the Lions as Hagen makes his first. Hagen's got 10 on the afternoon as Stevens going to come back in for the Bulldogs. Next one up by Hagen's good. 58-38, 20-point lead by Union. See if they can continue to put that foot on the throttle. Lee over to Chastain. Now gets it back to Lee. Now Chastain looking for Cusick. Doesn't know what to do with it. Gets it out to Lee. Lee, pull-up jumper on the way. No good front iron. It's tipped back up and around. And coming away with it is Elias. And it's going to be a foul on Tomlin. Tomlin went up for that rebound, but it was Elias who had the angle on him. So that's why it looked so awkward. And we'll draw a foul. 4 team fouls either way, as it's a 20-point advantage for the Bulldogs.
You talked about it earlier, being able to put a team away, and this really has been a great effort out of the Bulldogs thus far. And they've still got 10 minutes to go. You continue to have to push the pressure up this game.
Hagan brings the ball over the timeline, gives it to Newby, now to White. White deep left wing, looks for a cutting Stevens, gets him. Stevens goes baseline, now brings it back out and just throws it out to White. Stevens gets it back, swings it over to Hagans. Hagans with 14 to shoot, gets a screen from Newby. Now attacks, tries to force it into Newby and turns it over. Torino quickly up ahead to Lee, and a great foul there by Stevens to keep Lee from going and lay that one in. Wasn't anything hard about it, just swiped in and slapped it away. Lee didn't take too kindly to it as Lee and Stevens stare each other down. But Lee's going to go to line for 2. Good attack there by that young man. Smaller point guard, but very fun to watch. Averages 9 points a game. He can't get the first free throw to go. Lee shoots at a 71% clip. Out goes White. In comes Tucker. Next one on the way for Lee. Makes that one. So 19-point ball game. As Hagans has it, approaching the 10-minute mark of this contest. Hagans fires it over to Tucker, gets it back, does Hagans, over to Stevens. Stevens looks inside to Hagans, who's going to post up Torino, and they're going to call a block on Torino. So Torino gets called for the block.
Now that one probably should have been a charge.
And that one absolutely should have been a charge.
Forearmed him right in the chest.
Because Hagan just shoved Torino off, and nonetheless, it's tipped. Hagan's going to step back in and get it. Did establish position back inside. Long three for Tucker, no good. Stevens comes back and pokes it loose and puts it back up, no good, but Newby follows it on the weak side, puts it up and in. 60-39, Union leads it. That's Newby's 4th point. 9:36 to play here in the second half.
Great effort. Newby does not get credit enough for his effort on the offensive glass and the defensive glass of that.
Torino deep left wing, going to look for it back from Tomlin. Instead, they go out to Lee. Lee out front to Chastain, now to Lee. Lee looks inside to Tomlin, back out front to Chastain, thinks about taking the 3, swings it over to Torino. Torino fakes one way, fade away 3 on the way, but it's taken out of the air by Johnson. Tucker quickly running the floor the other way. Crossover dribble goes to his right side. Now kicks it out to Stevens. Wide open 3 on the way. No good, back iron. But skying for the rebound is Johnson. He kept it up but has it taken away from him by Chastain. Lee quickly going the other way. He goes and tries to lay it up, but he's fouled. Somehow Brandon Cole was on the ground. I'm not sure how, but I didn't catch that part, but I know Lee is going to get fouled.
4 on Deontay.
And Deontay's going to pick up his 4th foul. As Lee's going to go to the line. I think Deontay may have pushed Cole out of the way to get the lead to get the foul. 8:55 remaining in the ball game. Union leading it 60-39. First one up and good. Wagner comes in, as well as Kapinga, and out goes Johnson, out goes Hagans. Next one on the way for Lee is good. Wagner triggers it inbounds to Kapinga, 60-41. Union up with 8:50 to go. Out front to Stevens, and now swings it over to Wagner. Wagner looks inside, throws it out to Kapinga, swings it over to Tucker. Tucker looks for a cutting Wagner. Instead, Tucker's going to take it, and it's a foul on the ground. 2 shots here for Tucker. It's going to be Cole's second. We're starting to creep into time where I talked about earlier is Mr. Brandon Cole comes in highly touted, averaging 32 points and 11 rebounds a game. His last game against Tennessee Wesleyan, 36 points. Today, 10 points. First one up, next one up for Tucker, and it's good. Back to a 20-point advantage.
But I'll give you credit. You called it before the game. The Union usually does have success holding him under his average.
Well under his average, too. He did have one big game against Union last year, but I think it's a good talking point as the lowest he scored this year is 24 points. That came against Berea College on the 2nd of December. Other than that, the young man has been outstanding, but Union just has a lot of length, and they can just keep throwing bodies at Cole. Like right now, they've got him double-teamed, and he almost loses it, has to dish it back out, almost turns it over. 9 to shoot for Lee. Lee works across the top, gets a screen from Tomlin. As Torino's going to launch a three with 2 seconds. It's a floater instead as he pulled up the three and makes it right as the shot clock expires, 62-41. Topeka going to hold things up, and Union going to be very content with grinding things out here in the last 5 minutes and 52 seconds. And now Kapinga has his ball taken away from him, and now Lee goes up and misses the layup, and Yoder's there to put it back up and in for 2. 62-45. Killer instinct, John Riddle.
When you get a team that plays real fast like Union, you try to slow them down. It's hard for them. They like to get out and run, and you're up now. You gotta waste some time.
Backdoor cut from White to Newby. Newby puts it up and in for 2. 64-45 now your score. Out front is Lee. Swings it over to Torino. Torino looks inside and now goes out to Tomlin. Tomlin back out front to Lee. Swings it over to Yoder. Yoder has Torino. Torino going to rise and fire. No good back iron. As a scrum for the ball, and they're going to say it belongs to Union as Cole was in there trying to get it, but not going to come away with this. Kapinga going to come out, and Hagan's going to come in. Had a good little learning time here for Kapinga. Cole going to try to throw it off the knee of Wagner, but J.D. Tucker jumps on it, and when he does, Coach Burton calls the timeout as Brandon Cole tried to get cute there, and he's getting the stare down from Coach Reniski on his way over to the bench. I don't know what Cole was thinking there, but he tried the old MJ and throw it off a player and then get it back. It didn't work for him as Wagner turned at the exact same time Cole threw it. It went off his knee. Tucker dove on it, and we'll retain possession. We'll step out and take a quick break and be back. You're listening to the Bulldogs Sports Network. (64-45), Union leads it over Bryan here in AAC basketball action. As Danger Zone plays over the loudspeakers here from Robe Cien Arena. Higgins gets it. Under 7 minutes to play. Looks for White, who curls around the screen at the elbow from Newby. Now going to attack to the right. Puts it on the deck, throws it up. No good. And it's going to be a foul, and White is going to go to the line for a 2. As White steps to the free throw line. First one up. Good. Jermaine Elias is going to come in, check in for Deontay Johnson. Johnson 9 points and 4 fouls on the day. Fitzgerald White with 15 points on the night. Next one up for White. Good. Thought it was going to be long, but indeed it was not. Lee comes across the timeline, trailing at 66-45. Yoder looks to Cole instead, goes back out front to Lee, and now to Torino. Now to Lee. Lee forces it inside to Cole, and Cole cannot get anything to go. Throws it up, no good. Had 2 guys on him, couldn't get it to go. Quickly the other way goes Yoder, leaves it for White. White couldn't gather it, and now Torino's going to come away with a steal. White gets back up, trying to use the long arms to create a turnover, but he cannot. Lee quickly the other way. Off to Yoder. Yoder pump fakes. As Hagan's going to try to get in there and get a steal. He can't do it. Cole tries to go in and get a layup, and he's going to be fouled, tripped up, as Union tried to pull the fast one on him again and pull the chair out from under, but it didn't work that time. He got tripped and going to go line for two.
Newby's fourth. And you can see Cole, he's just really frustrated today. He's not used to having this lack of success.
Cole Lockley playing against a national tournament team. If Union can take care of business, at least that's where they want to get to. And Cole is very crafty around the basket, but he's not having to play, 4s and 5s. He may have to play against 1-4 or 1-5. Union's throwing 3 guys at him that play the power forward position, and they're long and lanky, and Cole just hasn't been able to transfer that over on the floor. He can't get over the length of the Bulldogs. Tucker causes a guy to fall, throws it up off the glass, and it can't go. And now Elias takes the jumpers. It floats right back to him. Johnson goes up for another rebound and throws it back to Elias. Elias attacks, pulls it up, finds Hagens, who swings it to White. White now step back 3 on the way, no good. And now Tomlin flies in for the rebound.
Tough shot there for Fitz.
66-47, 5 minutes and 36 seconds as floating it up there was Lee. Johnson gets the rebound quickly ahead to Hagens. Hagens lobs it up. Fitzgerald White with the dunk. Explanation point for Union there.
That was easy right there. You saw that coming from half court.
As Fitzgerald White motioned for Hagan to throw it up to him. Cole fadeaway jumper won't go. Cole cannot get anything to go, but a young man who has is Mr. Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin, I know we're not talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers coach, with another offensive putback. That's 8 points off offensive rebounds from him.
Tomlin with 10 points. Yeah, that's what we said. 10 points, and 8 of those have come from offensive putbacks. Very impressive showing for that young man, especially against the bigs of Union. 68-49. Watt in the middle for Johnson. Johnson spins back to the middle, has his ball taken away from him. Lee has a man out in front of everybody. It's Yoder. Yoder gathers, drives, throws it up. Good. 68-51, and Coach Burton calls the timeout as Union leads it here with 4 minutes and 42 seconds to go. But in a game like this, you got to stay on your game. You can't let off the throttle, and that's what Coach Burton's going to say in that timeout. 4 minutes and 42 seconds to go. We'll step out and take a break. We'll be back. You're listening to the Bulldogs Sports Network. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bulldog Sports Network. Union taking care of business here against Bryan College, 68-51. Bryan, tied for second in the AAC. It's Union on top, 6-1, looking to go 7-1 in the next 4 minutes and 42 seconds. Milligan at 5-2, Bryan at 5-2, and Truett McConnell all at 5-2. So log jam in the middle per second, kind of like things over on the girls' side.
Pretty much identical.
As missing from that conversation, Tennessee Wesleyan 3-5 in the AAC riddle. I don't think I've ever seen a Wesleyan team struggle like that in the AAC conference.
No, never.
Very odd to see as Tucker drives, throws up from the left side. If he's driving left, you might as well give him points. I mean,
every time.
Yeah.
We've said it off and on all game. It's the truth.
He loves to go to his left, and not a lot of teams can figure that out in mid-game for whatever reason, because occasionally we'll go to his right. But 70-51, Union trying to pour it on here against Bryan. 4 minutes and 5 seconds as quickly Newby off of the bench. He's going to come in for Johnson. Tomlin going to inbound. Finds Lee. Lee looks over to Chastain and gets him right in front of the bench. Now to Cole. Cole looks for a cutting Chastain. Instead goes to Lee. And now Torino going to rise and fire a long three. Rims out. Tucker skies above everybody to get it. And now Hagen's off to the races. Down the left side. Crossover dribble down the lane. Throws it off the glass. No good. As I can already tell you, Riddle, Hagen's is going to cause some problems for some people in the AAC.
Without a doubt. He's a different type of player. He gets on a fast break. He's tough to stop.
He's the type of player. He's got 11 points right now, but when he's in the game, he totally takes over the game.
The thing with him, his rebounding as a guard is unbelievable.
First one up, free throw is no good. This one would make it a 20-point lead. As next up on the docket for the Bulldogs, after they take on Bryan here today, they'll have to go to Reinhardt, the 14th. Reinhardt 4-3 in the conference. That'll be Wednesday. And then they'll take on Truett McConnell here at home in a doubleheader at 6 p.m. Another chance to distance yourself from that second-place team when they take on Truett McConnell. Feed into Tomlin. Tomlin works, puts it up, no good. Tipped around, and Cole comes up with it. Goes up against his man. Tipped around, no good. Tomlin with another offensive rebound. Hook shot's no good. Cole is fighting for the rebound, but he can't get it, and finally Union comes away with it. Quickly, Tucker goes the other way, leaves it. Throwing it up there was Hagens, but he misses it, but he's going to go to the free throw line.
I'll do the fourth. His second foul.
And that last possession, just kind of the story of the game for Brandon Cole. He had 4 chances at it right there and just could not get it to go. First one up, no good. Hagen almost airballed it. It's a 20-point lead for Union. Cole's going to come out. In comes Cusick. Also out goes Torino. Long comes in. Sharpshooter. As Hagen makes that one. 21-point lead for Union. 72-51. Lee across the timeline. Over to Long. Long looks for Tomlin. Tomlin doesn't even square up. Throws it back out to Lee. And Chastain throws it to Long. Long going to attack. Back to the basket on Cusick. Over to Cusick, who launches the three. No good, and Newby comes away with the rebound. 2:45 remaining in the ball game. Hagen has it out front, guarded by Lee. Gets a screen from Newby. Kicks it over to Buter. Buter, crossover dribble down the lane. Double team, floats it up anyway. No good. Cusick pulls down the rebound, and now off to the races goes Lee, looking for a Long down the left side. Doesn't have him. Instead, going to attack the right, almost taken away from him by Hagens. And now Chastain going to launch a three, left it short. And now Hagens has it in the open court. Hagens beating everybody down the floor. Gather puts it up, no good, but he's going to go to the line for 2. And that probably will be the difference in ball games this year, Riddle, is when you're up this much and you have a guy like Hagens, just unchain him and let him go, and he's going to get to the rack and get you some fouls every time.
I mean, you can't stop him in open court.
72-51, and Hagen's looking to extend that lead now. This one up. No good for Hagens. I think I may have found Hagens' weakness, though.
Yeah.
It's a laugh there from Hagens. He's missed the first one almost every time, but he's made it up on the second one. Let's see if that's the case here, and it is. Straight through and good. Takes him one to get it going as Hagens going to come out. 73-51. Hagens finishes with 14 points if his day is done.
And he looks a little winded.
Yeah, I think that's part of it too. I really do. I don't think he's got his collegiate legs under him just yet. Long fakes a pass, drives the lane, fadeaway jumper, short, but it rims in anyway. Long is having a very good day here for the Lions. And a day where Brandon Cole only has 12 points. The rest of the Lions have tried to make up for it. I'll give them that. Tucker out front, drives, lays it up, no good, but again fouled. And Tucker going to go to the line for 2. So that one on Long. Long's 4th. It's Union with a 20-point lead, going to look to add to it. Kurt Reuter off the bench, set to check in as Tucker free throw up and smooth. With 1:47 to play, 74-53 is your score. Danny Fernandez looking to check in as well. Fan favorite here in Robeson Arena. Has worked hard in his 4 years. Get some playing time out there, always putting in work as Tucker misses it though and can't get Danny in. 1:47, 1:46 to play. Long looks for Cusick, touch pass over to Tomlin, who kicks it out to Chastain. 3 on the way. Long, no good. Wagner pulls down the rebound. And now kicks it back to Buter. Buter across the timeline. 1:29 remaining. Leaves it for Kapinga. Kapinga guarded by Lee. Looks inside to Wagner. Or excuse me, to Reuter. Looking for Wagner. Reuter. Out to Buter. Buter brings it between the circles. Gets a screen. 3 on the way. Partially blocked. Reuter tries to tip it back, but he does it to Long. Long quickly the other way. Crossover dribble down the lane. Blocked from behind by Reuter, but Tomlin's there to put it back up and in.
10 points for him. Off offensive rebound.
Garbage points, but not a garbage player is Tomlin. He is very impressive. 12 points for Tomlin, and 10 of those have come from offensive putback. He is such a blue-collar player. Does not quit. Very impressed with Tomlin. Fernandez going to inbound it. Wagner comes across the timeline, hands it off to Fernandez. Danny calls out the play. Off to Buter. 41 seconds. Now out front, and a charge call or offensive foul regardless on the Bulldogs. It will belong to the Lions as they'll fall to 9-6 on the year. Union will improve as the 3 ball from Lee goes 74-54 now, or 74-58 now your score. Union will improve to 12-4 and 7-1 in the AAC. Bryan will fall to 5-3 in the AAC. It's 17-16. Bryan just content with letting this one play out. As that is going to do it. Next time the Bulldogs are in action, will be on the road against Reinhardt this coming Wednesday, and then they'll be back here in Robeson Arena on Saturday, where we'll have that one for you. They'll take on Truett McConnell. As a couple of guys there from Bryan, especially Tomlin and Long and Cusick, brought their A games today and brought their lunch pails ready to go to work, but it was all Bulldogs here tonight. As we'll be back with final game stats and an interview with Coach Burton. 74-58, Union victorious over Bryan. We'll be back. You're listening to the Bulldogs Sports Network. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bulldogs Sports Network. Bulldogs victorious over Bryan, 74-58. Now joined here on the postgame show by the head man for the Bulldogs, Coach Kevin Burton. Coach, thoughts on the game?
Well, I mean, I'm really pleased. I really liked how my players had just a tremendous desire to achieve today overall. I mean, I don't know how it was, but it was dripping off of them from my vantage point of how much they wanted to do really well in this game. And I thought they did. And, I thought we guarded really well, obviously. I mean, we held a team that I think is hard to defend in our conference to 33% from the field. And sometimes, early in the year there was a couple times where teams were just missing open shots against us. I don't think that was really the case today. I think it was because we were guarding really well, and we threw off some of their rhythmic stuff they like to do, And obviously, I mean, my respect level for Brandon Cole, which was 0 on their team, is just unlimited. How much I respect his ability and him as a kid, and the guy's averaging, 33 points a game, leading the country in scoring, and we hold him to 10 points. And, of course, there was some things by design that we were trying to accomplish, and our players just did a really good job of it. Gerard Newby did a fantastic job on him there. It was more than just Gerard, but, the asterisk sort of goes to, if I was in a classroom, I'd probably give him a couple more stars than everybody else because of how good of a job he did. But it was a collective effort because without good perimeter defense, they'll dribble in there and throw it into 0 posting up Brandon Cole. But, Fitzgerald and Dominique Hagan's our new player. Hopefully people are getting introduced to. And J.D., Tucker, and everybody else did a really good job defending on the perimeter. And I liked early in the game we were picking up full court and we were trying to be disruptive. And I was going to do it in the second half, but we had just enough of a lead that I thought that it's one of those deals where you're up by 14 and increasing the tempo could help them get back into the game. So I was waiting to see if they get it down to 8 or 9. I was going to do it again, but that never happened.
Yep.
So I never really did it again. And I was in that no man's land. Do I try to do a knockout punch or do I, and I played it a little more concerned. I think we did the right thing strategically on that. But anyway, great game. Fitzgerald White, just an outstanding all-around game. When he drives the basketball, he's such a tough cover. And, for that matter, I mean, everybody I thought did a good job. Our new player, Dominique Hagan's, is the first time you've seen him, John, maybe. But, he needs to get more aggressive scoring. He's a pass-first player, as you see. But when he gets in his mind he's going to go and score it at the rim, he does it, and he's a very important player for us. So I was very pleased, very pleased.
Yeah, I thought the impressive thing to me was I think you said it was dripping off of them that they wanted to come out and prove a point. Defensively early, Bryan could not match that energy. When they did, they kind of punched you guys in the mouth and got back in it, and then I thought Union really answered well after that little run that Bryan made to make it close there in the first half.
I thought so too. I mean, we're talking about a team that we played against Bryan, and they're trying to win a conference championship. And our guys knew it wasn't going to be easy. They knew it was going to be a challenge, and we got off to a really quick start, and then as you said, they kind of came back and gave us their proverbial punch, but we hung in there, and I was just real pleased. And it's fun. It's fun. Early on in the year, you and I weren't having this conversation.
Yeah.
But it's fun when your team is thinking about team stuff and winning instead of whatever their individual thing, and that's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah.
We are wrapped up into team stuff, and it's really good.
Yeah.
So we're in a good spot right now.
And then you and I know we talked a little bit about this before break, but we talk about the killer instinct of your basketball team. And when you get a lead, and I could see your guys really making sure that they controlled the end of that game so they didn't let Bryan get back in this contest.
I agree, and I think it's getting better. With 7 or 8 minutes to go, we kept attacking.
Yep.
And there were a couple times I was wanting to put the brakes on them, but but with the players that were going with it, that's what fit their skill set. So I'd let them go with it. But I agree with you. Our killer instinct is getting better. Needs to keep getting better. It's not all the way there, but it's better. And I thought we looked really good. I mean, I'm just this is we didn't shoot the ball very well. The exciting thing about it is we really didn't shoot the basketball very well today, really. I mean, we didn't make very many jump shots, and we've got a lot of guys that can make shots, and today we didn't. I mean, we were 3 for 17 from three-point line, and we still shot 46% from the floor, which shows you how good we are when we drive and get in the post. And we win by a good margin because we held our opponent to 33. 33%, if you'd have told me we were going to hold this team to 33% before the ball game, I'd have probably checked your temperature and wanted a drug test you or something, And but we just, I just was real impressed with how our guys played, and we struggled, and we won on the road at Bluefield a couple of days ago, and our guys felt it. We got 52. When we had 52 points on the scoreboard, we were up by about 19, and man, we got stuck on 52 forever. And it wasn't anything anybody was doing wrong. It was one of those deals that we just. And our guys learned. Another learning situation took place where us guarding and defending held us in the game. We held Bluefield to under 40% from the field, and that pretty much gave us the victory because we had a tough offensive night. We really didn't have a tough offensive night tonight. We just didn't shoot it real well from the perimeter. So, but real pleased, and I've been so tied up in this game. I don't even know when we play next. So, I know it's probably Wednesday, but
it's at Reinhardt Wednesday.
But and of course I got all the respect for Reinhardt, but I've been all just dialed into this matchup. So, real pleased with all of our guys.
Any final thoughts? I get you out of here, Coach.
No. Are we on the road Wednesday?
On the road Wednesday.
So this will be our. Is that our 9th conference game? It would be our 9th. So we're 7-1.
Yeah, 7-1.
So this will be our 9th conference game. 7 of our first 9 conference games are on the road. Okay, and we're doing well. And so the point to everybody listening is we got a ton of home games coming up, and we need everybody. And by the way, I was pleasantly surprised how many people here today with the students not here and. All that stuff. So I was very pleased.
Had a really good crowd.
I agree. So,
Coach, good luck
thanks,
Wednesday.
John. Appreciate it.
We'll see you next Saturday. So joining me back here on the broadcast is Mr. Jonathan Riddle with final game stats, and then we'll get out of here as well. But I thought Coach Burton covered it well there. Riddle talked about how into this game they were, and you could see that defensively. We talked about that all game. That was the trend all game long, how good they were defensively. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, just to reiterate him, they just flat out got after it. You saw a different intensity level than you usually see from them. It was just like they were on a whole nother level. But I'll go ahead and run the stats out here. First for the Bryan Lions, Tyler Yoder, he had 4 points and 2 rebounds. Brandon Cole with 10 points and 6 rebounds. Mike Tomlin with 14 points and 9 rebounds.
Impressive.
7 of those offensive rebounds. Lee with 8 points, 2 rebounds, and 6 assists. Trino with 2 points. Jeff Long with 12 points, 4 rebounds, and assists. Hunter Chastain with 6 points, 3 rebounds, and assists. And Bryce Cusick with 2 points and 3 rebounds. The Lions had 35 rebounds, 13 offensive rebounds, 8 assists, 16 turnovers, 2 blocks, and 5 steals. They shot 33% from the field, 31% from the three-point line, and 65% from the free throw line. For the Bulldogs, Fitzgerald White led the way with 18 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists. Gerard Newby, 8 points, 9 rebounds, and an assist. Deontay Johnson, 9 points, 7 rebounds. J.D. Tucker, 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. Dominique Higgins, 14 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists. David Kapinga, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists. Tyler Wagner, 3 points and a rebound. And DeAndre Stevens, 6 points and 2 rebounds. The Bulldogs had 45 rebounds, 13 offensive, 32 defensive, 14 assists to 16 turnovers, 4 blocks, and 9 steals. The Bulldogs shot 46% from the field, 18% from the three-point line, and 65% from the free throw line.
I think that just about does it. Riddle, next time we'll be on, of course, next Saturday against Trip McConnell, for those wondering. Reinhardt will have a broadcast down at Reinhardt, so there's no need to travel with them. They'll have it on there for you, and we'll put that up on the website for everybody to have. But big shout-out for my casting crew. Before we do that, though, any final thoughts from you?
You don't – the Bulldogs in the first half of the season, very good. You add a player, though, like Higgins, and it just takes him to another level.
Yep.
Just, because you hear about him and he can score, but what I like to see from him was his defensive ability. And
Absolutely.
He flat out gets after it, and he makes everybody else get after it. Because like we talked about, the defensive intensity from the tip was the same throughout the whole game.
So that's going to do it for us. For my casting crew, big shout-out John Gatto and Jordan Childress our sports information directors, my beautiful cameraman slash woman, Samantha Caldwell, my fiance, Union grad. Big shout out for her for taking time out of her day to do camera for us here on the BSN. My color analyst, Mr. Jonathan Riddle, does a fantastic job as always. I've been the voice of the Bulldogs, John Norris, signing off, saying I'll catch you down the line.
I'm the first college graduate in my family.
The Union College Athletic Department would like to thank all of our corporate sponsors for making today's broadcast possible on the Bulldog Sports Network. Lowe's Sporting Goods, McDonald's of Barberville, Vesio Sports Fields, Pope's Lumber Company of Barberville, Barberville Utilities, and the National Management Resources Corporation. You can listen to today's broadcast at any time on demand and find scores, schedules, rosters, and recaps only at GoUnionBulldogs.com.